All right, the pride of Louisiana Tech. You saw the thumbnail. You're like, who's that guy? It's our guy, Amik Robertson. I think this guy is the secret weapon to everything that we're doing right now, and I'll explain it to you. So if you watch him, this was that play where he blows up the screen pass and 7-yard negative play. Like, let's go. His physical nature is something that he's brought to us right from the start. And he's a little reckless, a little out of position at times. But for the most part, I think indirectly, or not indirect, I don't think, I know that like indirectly, he and the other guys in the secondary have really been who has replaced and made up for Aiden Hutchinson, right? We're always like, all right, Hutchinson goes out. Well, who's going to fill that? Well, obviously, but the secondary's played so well. They're in the top 10 in almost every passing statistical category this year. Such an improvement from last year. So we know about Carlton Davis, Terrion Arnold. We know about our dynamic safety duo, but we know also how important that nickel cornerback position is. And Amik Robertson has filled that in so well. Okay, going against the Colts this week, before we go more on Amik Robertson, the defense as a whole, their offensive coordinator is Jim Bob Cooter. That I know that name rings a bell. So it made me think, like, let me know in the comments any coordinators that come to mind, bad coordinators, I guess, for the Lions over the years, just because we have such good coordinators now. When you think of Jim Bob Cooter, first of all, shocked he's still in the league. I guess I'm never shocked. Like, all these guys always pop up like, oh, he's the offensive line coach at the 49ers. Like, coaches are always they all over the place, but Jim Bob Cooter is a offensive coordinator for the Colts. And this was, 10 years ago when we had him. Stafford, I felt like we were in shotgun every play. And then it's just like we had Theo Riddick and there's no running concepts. It was just like Stafford would take it and he'd like, here you go. And he'd just give it to Theo Riddick and he'd get 2 yards, and Dominic Raiola's blocking, getting pissed. And just like, oh my gosh, this is hard. And then Stafford would have to just throw a dot, just a BB in there to Nate Burleson to get a first down. It's like, oh, just everything was so hard when Jim Bob Cooter was the offensive coordinator. That's what it felt like to me. Let me know in the comments. Okay. Amik Robertson, talking about him. Louisiana Tech, he's only a 4th-year pro. Remember that. So he's a young guy. He's only getting better as the season goes on. I think that's something we're kind of forgetting about him. If you look at this here, PFF did just an overall grade of advanced coverage grade through week 11. And so there's 32 teams. So you just take in account, the corners. So if you're in the top 64, you're a starting corner level guy, right? So if you look down here, ranked, I know this is an eye chart, but right there, 46th is Amik Robertson, and he's ahead of guys like Jair Alexander, Kool-Aid McKinstry, a couple other big names. They talk about like Cam Hart from the Chargers. Everybody's like raving about him. It's like, all right, Ronald Darby. He's ahead of. There's another name in here that was like Diggs from Dallas. So there's a top 100. Martin Emerson Jr. was supposed to be this really up and coming guy. So we have on our team, if Amik Robertson can play well and continue to play well, we have on our team 5 really good secondary players, which we've come such a long way in just a couple of years with our secondary. I think I was watching. I know this is a little bit further back, but still, just an example. I saw Jeff Okudah just getting burned the other day. It's like, oh my gosh. It's hard to play this position. It's really hard. And so to have 5 guys that can really play the position. When you can have Brian Branch covering people, making tackles, he makes that secondary really stand out. And so huge. Now, that being said, here's something we're looking at. Terrion Arnold is dealing with a growing injury. And let's just take a look at this injury report, and you can kind of see it's like good news, bad news, right? New injury, Terrion Arnold, limited practice, but full practice. Sam Laporta, love it. He's probably going to play. Carlton Davis and Emmanuel Mosley sitting there, possibly just being a nice depth piece, right? Because we are good right now. But if one guy goes out or whatever, it'd be really nice to be able to throw Emmanuel Mosley in there versus, gosh, I mean, we had just some runs there with some secondary players where it's like, oh, this is not good. Just undrafted free agents coming in. You're just getting burnt by Justin Jefferson. Allen Robinson had a concussion. He's back. Colts, nothing really of note. Full practice for their main players. So nothing really to note there. But I think the secret sauce to our defense that we've seen is we stop the run and we don't give up big plays. We don't give up. I mean, we're not even getting pressure. When we don't get pressure and a quarterback can sit there and throw it, it's a tough throw. He's got to make a tough throw. That's what the Lions want to do. All right, fine. But it's going to be a tough throw, well covered, no gimmies. And the Lions just don't give anything easy. And you see that when like linebackers cover running backs. They just there's no like I don't know, they're just like in case you're running a screen or something, they're right up in there. They're constantly the Lions defense has been the secret sauce to this whole thing. We love the offense, of course, but man, the defense just keeps getting the ball back, interceptions, takeaways, all of it is just awesome. A couple things of note from the coordinators as they talk today. Christian Mahogany, remember him, rookie, interior offensive lineman, really important, really need him. We just don't have a lot of depth there. And here's what Ben Johnson said. You've seen Christian grow immensely. I really wish, as a staff, really wish he would have been able there in the preseason because those would have been huge games to really get a gauge of where he's at right now. And it's a little bit harder in practice. Sometimes we have pads on him, sometimes we don't. But from a one-on-one aspect, pass pro, run blocking, you see flash of immense potential there. So we'll continue to try to find where we can slip him in, get him more experience. But he's a guy that we have high hopes for. Huge. Mahogany missed training camp. He had a sickness. It's like, all right. Now, Aaron Glenn talking about going against Anthony Richardson, which is an interesting player. He's terrible, yet he's physically unbelievable and had a good game last week. So it's like, all right, is he good? Or it's like, so right. It's like, I don't think he's good, but also at the same time, got to take it pretty seriously. The number one thing we talked about as defensive staff and with this player's discipline has to be in high alert because of the nature of their offense. Every play is a run pass option. So our eyes have to be in the right place every snap, and our ability to get the ball down has to be important. Tackling. So Anthony Richardson, I'm excited for this game. I think shockingly, these like last couple games. I mean, I know the Texans game was exciting, but like last game was just like boring's not the right word, but you're just playing such a bad opponent with a bad quarterback. It's like, I'll take it all day, but it'll be fun to just, all right, let's go against some, like, this is a real player here. Because Richardson had 10 rushes, 2 TDs last week, designed runs, like he can do some things. And one other thing. So fans dressed up for Aaron Glenn at Ford Field. He said, this is getting out of hand again. My daughter sent that. I think it's actually funny to be able to see that. So I get a kick out of that. So it was good. The one thing I did see that my wife actually mentioned is they have the yellow striping on the glasses. So they were very detailed. So I'm sure they can come and help us how detailed that was. Love it. Man, it's just been, here we go. The foggy, rainy glasses. Love these guys. Just imagine you pay all that money for the ticket and then you put on foggy glasses. But hey, that's the whole point. That's the whole point. All right. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. If you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe, and we'll see all of you on the next one.